Okay, let's give this another go. Oops. Bad lighting. That's all right. Oops, try this again with Frank. I hope you can hear me. I hope I can hear you. Well, not you. I hope I can hear Frank. You can hear my song. This is my new jingle. Ding, 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 ding. Here comes Frank to join us too.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you
Yeah,
hear
I
me?
can. Yeah, I had to give up on the
Oh,
earphones. Dang,
why?
these are the ones that came with the phone. Samsung phones. Brand new
They're not the
phones.
greatest, but at least they work. They don't. They don't look too comfortable. I think I got the same ones. Hold on a second. Can you see?
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, they say Samsung on them. You can't read it, maybe?
I don't know if these have Samsung on them. I didn't look. No, I don't know if these
You
are
ever
Samsung or
send?
not. But
Oh, I'm gonna see if I can do
I
this
think
thing
these.
with the line.
I think they came like BlackBerry. I'm not sure. I don't know if I got headphones on my Samsung. These might be them though.
I was, I was playing around with this thing, these little things for my phone.
Pan back. Pull it back a little bit. I can't see. Oh, okay.
It's a special lens, so I can put a zoom on it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I put, here's my fingernail. Oh, it's so dirty. Sorry, it was these little lenses you have. And one that has a fisheye. I think I'm gonna. Well, I'll see if it works. I don't have the clip. The clip I know where it is. It's in the car. See what this
There
does.
are headphones that we get. They're called Skull Candy. Probably the best headphones I've ever used in my life. They sound the best. I think they're about $20, $25. And that'd be
Yeah,
worth it.
we still have them there. I've had a few of those. They kind of they tend to wear out quicker, I found. Like the cord
What?
would wear out, but they had good sound quality for sure. I just don't take care of things, so I need something a little bit more. There's a
Robust?
fisheye. This is supposed to be a fisheye.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I see. It's yeah.
but I know what you
I don't
mean. The
think that.
skull candy, like very
Yeah.
affordable, like and they look nice and stuff.
And they're awesome. They sound. We get the basic wired headphones. Sound fantastic.
And that's it. Don't go for anything fancy. I don't go for anything fancy anyway. But
No,
oh,
neither
geez.
do I. I don't like that Bluetooth crap. I don't. I don't need
Yeah,
anything
it's
like
nothing but a
you know.
pain.
It's too expensive, and especially if you're not gonna take care of anything, you buy them every 3 4 months. If you don't take care of them, I've had them last a couple of years, but
Oh,
they're
and then
okay. I
yeah,
mean, I take
and
care of
keep
me.
it
I take care of
simple.
certain things.
Yeah. The problem I have with Bluetooth is it doesn't have a cord on it. I had a third one of these little funny
Well, that's the
lenses. And now I
purpose of
can't.
Bluetooth. That's the purpose of Bluetooth to not have a cord.
I know that's why it's terrible for me. And what's this thing
Plus,
they talk
Bluetooth.
about blue jacking? Blue jacking is like someone steals your shit and they blue jack you,
I never heard of that.
and you can get
That's the
in like
first
through
I'm
the
hearing of it.
Bluetooth. No,
I keep my Bluetooth off, so if
well
Bluetooth
that's
drains your
just
battery like crazy. Make sure it's off all the time.
terrible.
You keep NFC on, keep Bluetooth off. Bluetooth drains your battery like crazy.
What's NFC do? I keep that off too. I think.
NFC, I think it allows you to connect to another device if you're touching it. Like you got to be right on top of it.
Oh,
But I
so it
don't.
has.
I've
Okay,
never used it before. I've never used it before. It's
that's it.
basically a way of communicating with other devices.
Oh yeah, transfer something easily. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, I see. I've never
What's
used it
funny
though.
though, I never use it either. What's funny though is my brother had an Apple iPhone. I think he had the iPhone 6 for 3 days, and he was turned on Bluetooth because he just wanted to send me a picture or a song or something that he had, and it wouldn't pair with my phone. I had a BlackBerry at the time. He goes to Apple to return the phone, and he says Bluetooth is not working. The guy says Bluetooth only works with other Apple devices. What's the point of having Bluetooth if it's only going to work with another Apple device and not any other phone? That's what Bluetooth
Oh,
is for.
it's a
It
bit
doesn't
trying
make
to be a
any sense.
standardized way of talking. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Exactly, you're right. All platforms use Bluetooth. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Apple does those proprietary things. It's just like I think it's going to shoot them in the foot in the end. You can't. Anyways, but that's
yeah,
it's a business model. It is a business model. Anyways,
you know,
Frank,
they've been. they've been accused of stealing Android's user interface, not the exact programming, but the way it works with the
Hmm.
icons, and so they have a big battle with that with Android too.
They're going through it with that, eh? Well, anyways,
I don't know if they settled in that, but
those are the games the big boys play, I suppose.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And all you want to do is copy keys.
Yeah. Man, copy keys. Like this is my new business. I'll cut you in on it. Don't worry. You can, no,
Ha
no,
ha! Cut me in. That's good. Cut me in.
laser. No, but
Cut
but the thing
keys
is,
and cut me in.
like I was trying to think about this some more, and I even chatted with someone who's like, I think the business model is something like, you're not going to get everyone calling you, right? Or maybe
Right.
you said that. Who said that?
I don't know who
Maybe you
said that.
said that. I've had this conversation a couple times, not mixed up. It was you. It was like you just go around the garages and you say, I've got this machine. I've got the ability
Oh,
to
I don't
cut
think
these
I've seen
keys.
that. No, I haven't
You
said
know,
that. Someone else did. Yeah.
someone would say that, and you say that to all the garages. And so whenever they get a client that comes in with like a missing key, they say, well, you can go to the dealership and it's $500, or you can go to Frank and Fraser,
And it's 300.
and it's
Yeah,
three
right.
hundred
Frank
bucks,
and Fraser.
right? But it's like you tell every garage around that you're going to undercut the dealership by like $100.
Oh
And they
yeah, they'll
call
save
you. I mean, the
thousands.
clients are happy. Anyways, trying to think how to make it a business. But yeah, it's just you have to have
Good
that
idea.
machine. You got to use it a lot. Like you've got to use it a few times a
Yeah.
day, and then that makes it a thing, right?
I don't even know how big the machine is because it could be as simple as a handheld computer, or it could be something like a desktop, a tower for a desktop. I don't know how
Well,
big it
the
would
guy
be.
that came, he came in like he was a locksmith, I guess, and he came
So okay, so
in his
it's a
van, like
handheld computer.
he was in a regular van, so somewhere in the back there. I'm imagining like a little
My brother
router
bought it.
looking thing.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
probably is. Yeah.
And
My brother
a
bought a code
laptop or
scanner.
like a tablet that goes with it that you guys to program.
Yeah, yeah. My brother bought a code scanner for the car, an OBD2 scanner. That was
Yeah,
about, I don't know, $200, but it's small. It's about the size of a phone. It's
yeah.
relatively small, very easy to use, and you
Mhm.
can read the codes on the car. It comes in handy.
It definitely. I've heard of these little things. You go into Bluetooth now. You get a little chip, Bluetooth chip,
Oh yeah.
plug it in, and now you get an app on your phone, and
Perfect.
apparently it's the same screen. But I don't know.
Newer newer cars, especially ones with OnStar. I don't know if Lexus has their own version, BMW has their version. It's all Bluetooth. It's all internet now. They can actually
Mhm.
give you trouble codes from the internet and download them into your email and tell you exactly what's wrong with your car. You don't even need
Wow.
a plug-in anymore. It's all satellite computers now. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, no, when I was doing it, I'm like, yeah, what about stepping down in some of those features? But everything, like, I said, I don't really need a backup camera. And he's like, yeah, everyone has a backup camera. Like, there's no
Yeah,
car that they make that didn't have a
everybody.
backup camera. It's like, okay, give me a backup camera, I guess.
I like the technology, but it is a point where if it's going to become intrusive, I don't want it anymore. Again, going back to the self-driving cars, I don't want that. I don't mind
Well, in
self-parking.
intrusive part is like the thing in your house in my mind. But in the car thing, in the safety side of things, oh fuck, how do I do that?
Well,
Like in the safety
they
side of
do
things in
have
the car, it was like the blind side detection, right? It's got
they do
little
have
radar sensors. And so
automatic
it's not even
braking.
about, it's not telling anyone that data. Like this, I'm not enabled with the OnStar thing. So basically,
Right.
it's only telling me. But what the safety thing is doing, it's getting me out of the habit of doing shoulder checks. And so that's what I don't
That
like about that.
yeah, exactly. Now you start to get lazy,
Yeah, and
and
it
you're not
isn't even
taking your own
intrusive.
safety.
It's
Yeah.
just a technology that's really making me dumb in a way that I shouldn't be dumb. You know what I mean?
Oh God, my brother. Oh, I drove a 2014 Honda Accord with lane changing technology just for the left, right turn
Yeah.
signal, not for the left. So there's a a navigation screen right in the middle, and when you turn your signal on, the navigation turns off and it gives you the camera for that window or the mirror. So your whole blind spot is on that video
That
screen,
is
and you
screwed.
can tell right away if you're able to merge especially on the highway, if you can merge lanes, you say to make a right-hand turn, whatever. I like
Yeah.
that. But I still
Mhm.
do the out of habit. I still do the shoulder check because I've been driving since I'm 16 years old. So I'm
Yeah.
45 now. That's what 29 years, so give or take. So
Yeah.
I learned to drive without all this technology. So
Well,
as the
that's the
technology
thing,
is coming up,
but if someone doesn't have that background and didn't do it, and now like
right?
Canada, like, and it's and you can turn this blindside detection off, but if someone doesn't grow up with it, oh no, sorry. So in Canada, what happens when it is on is that there'll be like some crust gets on. I'm sure in New York too, like some snow or something like that gets on it, and it doesn't
Yeah,
work.
exactly. You got to keep it clean, right? Right.
Like on the highway, it'll just say all of a sudden it's like, oh, now it's stopped working because there's enough slush got on there. So then for the rest of the trip, I don't have blindside detection. And so it's if I
So yeah,
don't
yeah.
know
But your
about it.
next still works. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
you
if you
never
don't
learn if
have
you
that
didn't learn how to
habit,
drive like that either, right? You didn't learn
that's
how to
it.
drive like that. That's the problem.
I have to do this like every time because my mom was like, you look twice, look twice.
Right. Yep.
Come
Yep.
on. So my neck just goes like this when I'm driving, like all the time.
Like you got
That's,
like it's like you Gumby.
that's it. Going, going. At the intersection, it was like left, right, and then I could go. I had to do left, right, left, right. I wasn't allowed to go if I didn't look twice. It was
I
good. I
always look
probably would
twice.
have
Stop.
gone.
I don't like stop signs that much. I prefer
Oh,
traffic
Montreal,
lights.
like
You're
in
all
terms of
stop
actually
signs.
stopping. Oh, we don't
You're all
stop in
stop signs.
Montreal.
You
Rolling. Oh,
really, really.
no one
You
stops.
know,
You just like
you know,
slow down. If someone's coming,
and in
or if someone's a pedestrian, you would stop. Yeah. If you see a cop,
New
you would
York,
slow down a little more.
you're not allowed to make a right turn on a red light. You have to stop.
Montreal too. Yeah.
So, yeah,
That's
a lot
actually a
of
good
parts,
thing.
other parts of the country, you have to. Well, New York is so population dense, especially in
Mhm.
Manhattan, that if you're
Yeah.
allowed to turn right on a red light, you're looking at the cars coming left, but you're
Yep.
not looking at the people walking. So
Good.
someone's gonna get hit.
Exactly. Someone's gonna get hit. Absolutely. No, and I've done that before too. Like I get into because Montreal is the only city in Canada that has that. Everywhere else, you can turn right as long as it doesn't say otherwise.
I think like
But
Manhattan alone has
yeah,
3 million people, and it's a small island. Brooklyn, where I
exactly.
am, is like 1.7 million people, something like that. It's a lot of people.
Dang.
And we're very population dense over here. I think in all of New York State, the city rather, I'm talking about the five boroughs. I think population is around 8 million, with about 3 or 4 million tourists any given time. It's a lot of
Yeah,
people.
it's a lot. Like Montreal, we're down a scale. Like we're I think at 3 million for kind of Greater Montreal, three or something. And then maybe one and change on the island, which is what that was about what you said for Brooklyn was like one and
Yeah,
change,
let me see.
one
Yeah,
million
let me
something.
see the population. Population.
Yeah.
So my hands look like giants, right? Because the
Oh
camera's
yeah.
right here, so you see my hand.
Oh, yeah, you
All right,
still get that effect.
8.5 million people. Yeah.
I don't even need my fancy lenses. It does a weird thing on its own.
Okay.
Eight point,
The
how much? One
population
point.
of New York is 8.5 million in New York City. So let's say Brooklyn, where I am.
I wish I could look something up.
Brooklyn is two. Wow, I didn't think it was that high. 2.6 million people as
Wow.
of 2015. I think our next census is coming up soon. So yeah, it's a lot of people.
Whoops. We got no more battery left on that. How much is in Montreal? Do you have Montreal there?
Oh, let's see. I can probably get that population of Montreal.
Like we don't. I don't know. They
Okay,
measure.
1.7 million in 2016. Montreal's metropolitan area had a population of 4 million, 12.1 million. And a,
Okay.
what? Hold
Okay.
on a second. Wait. They make this really confusing. Population of Montreal 1.7. I don't know where this 4.1 came out of.
Well, that's like the island. Like Montreal is an island, and then around it we have like big cities like right jammed up against it. So you leave Montreal and you don't get out of the city for another hour, right? Well, depending which way you go. So
All right,
it's
so it
like
says yeah,
Laval, Montreal, and the South Shore. We put it all together. It's like I guess the boroughs in your case.
yeah. I guess, well, they just say here on Wiki. Uh, let's see, worldpopulationreview.com I'm on right now. How many
Mhm.
people live in Montreal? 4,085,000. So,
Okay, 4.1.
well, that might be the
Okay.
city's 1.7. The surrounding area might have the other 3 million. I don't know.
Yeah, like we're talking the city is just on the island. Like we're surrounded on both sides by rivers, in fact. Like a river kind of comes
So
down and then it goes around Montreal and it goes back together. Or something like that. Or anyways, we're all surrounded by water, even though we're inland. We're like an island. So the island has 1.7 on it.
actually, you wanted, it, um, shit, I lost the word. Uh, literally speaking, I'm on an island too, Long Island. I'm on
The long,
the
yeah.
westmost part of Long Island. Well, Long Island is an island.
Stat-
Manhattan's the island. Bronx is connected, I think, on is inland, and Staten Island. Well, Staten Island's an island also. So I'm surrounded by water,
So
basically.
really, there's three like separate islands.
Yeah.
Stat Is Staten Island, it was pretty big or it's pretty small comparatively?
Staten Island. Oh, you ever seen a map? Staten Island's it's pretty big actually, but it's not as populated dense as Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx is.
I only
Manhattan
get my
being the most
references from
population.
movies. I get my references from movies. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, speaking of, have you ever seen any Steven Seagal movies?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. He's made
Okay,
like
great. Wait,
600.
wait, wait. Awesome, awesome. I'm gonna tell you exactly what my neighborhood looks like right now. If you've seen the movie, was it Not Hard to Kill? It was Out for Justice, where the cop was shot in front of the vegetable store.
Oh, for
Come on, you gotta know this. This is one of his biggest movies.
oh, for
Jerry
justice.
Orbach was in it. Jerry
Who was it?
Orbach was in it. Steven Seagal. Jerry Orbach. Oh,
Hmm.
come on, you gotta watch this movie. You had to have seen it. This was made in the
Probably,
80s or
maybe.
something, like late 90s.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's
Yeah,
my neighborhood. If you watch it, that's my neighborhood.
that's where you're at, eh?
It's
Like
really
Brooklyn comes up a lot. Brooklyn is worldwide known. You know what I mean? But yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
well, they filmed it in Bensonhurst and Sunset Park, the two
That's like
neighborhoods very close to each other.
you kind of see
So
like houses walk by right by your place in the movie. You mean
yeah, yeah, right,
like the
right.
little houses? Not, yeah, yeah. Oh, fucking, that's funny. No, that's good. That's good.
But you have to have seen it. You have to see the movie
I'm
now.
sure I've seen it. Yeah, like you say, those are the
I'm
side of
sure you have.
movies. Steven Seagal. It was like that was it. There was Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme, and then who were some of those other guys,
Those are
action
the big
guys?
action stars
Oh, I
back in the
love
80s
Jackie
and
Chan.
90s.
He was so Jackie Chan was so funny. That guy could make me laugh and laugh. He's just so weird. Did you ever watch what was it, The Drunken Master? It's the weirdest
No,
movie ever, but it's
not a big Jackie
like for a
Chan fan.
movie. No, he was weird. He's just like
Uh,
Joker. Like he's more of a
Rush Hour, I
clown.
liked.
Yeah,
Rush Hour, I liked.
yeah.
His, uh, never seen really a lot of Jackie Chan movies. I like Bruce Lee a little better.
Bruce Lee, yeah, that guy had. Well, there was ones with like real skill, and I guess Jackie Chan. I mean, he's very athletic. Apparently, he does all his own stunts and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But he was like in a, I don't know. It was less sort of. It was more comical than combative. Like some of those other guys, you could tell they could hurt someone really bad. But yeah, yeah. Anyways, no, I'm getting. Sorry, I'm all fuzzy. I'm actually super tired. I might have to let you go at this point.
Really? I'm not
I'm just
sorry.
gonna see I was like, Steven Seagal. Yeah,
As
that's
long
a
as I'm
guy.
getting paid, I don't care. As long as
Things
I'm
are
getting
going
paid,
slowly.
Fraser, I'm okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It's,
Oh
if I
God! If
fall
I didn't need
asleep,
the
yeah,
money,
you have to keep me. No, no, but that's it.
no. If you want to go, Fraser, we don't seeking
No,
truth tonight, people. We're just talking about. We're just reminiscing a bit.
we found the sound though. At least we got through the.
Yeah, at least you
There
got that.
was there something? Oh shoot! I wonder if I said were we supposed to do something today? Is there like homework of the day?
Not, there was no. You didn't. No. You
I
were
don't
just
know. I
talking
should follow
before.
up. I should have gone onto the web page or something to see what was up. See
Yeah.
if there was a
I
morning
don't think there's
post.
any.
Was there a morning
Oh, from
post?
Sean? From Sean?
Yeah, he was gonna do.
Let me see.
Maybe or maybe it was a blog post. I might be thinking of the blog post.
Let me see. I haven't. I
I'm
don't.
not. I don't have my schedule up to date.
Sean's
But
the
he
only
was
one that
doing.
really posts on that page. I'm not the one that does that. And
I know, and I don't know how to do like you know how it gives notifications? Like Facebook
Yeah.
will pop me up and it'll say, "Oh, something, Frank just said something," and it just says it to me right away.
No,
Or
the
I can
only
look at the
post
face. Yeah.
Seeking Truth, Finding the End of the Story 10 hours ago. That was your.
I put that up?
Yep, it
No.
was you had a live video that you did 10 hours ago, and it was about 2.5 minutes long. You're talking about grand mal seizure.
But
You don't
I put it
remember?
on just the Facebook page.
You put it
I don't think
on
I
a closed group.
cool. Yeah, the closed group. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking about the web page. I thought it was up on the web
No,
page.
no. I'm on
No.
Facebook right now.
Just
On
on the
the closed
Facebook.
book on Facebook. You don't the team members page.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All those
He
videos
doesn't.
though, I was just yeah, I guess Sean was gonna go through some of the videos, I think. Maybe he was doing something like that. I'm trying to blank on what was going on today, but
I've
other
never
than that,
seen you this low on energy before. This is like
I was
normal energy for anybody else.
I was like going like coming in, I was like I don't know. Anyways, yes. No,
You
but
could have just said no. You don't have to do
sure, my
anything
day
tonight.
just
Doesn't
turned off. Um what's the oh well, I was just downloading videos, yeah. So my job, like I was just like just anything. I was just grab I started off on that one day I thought it was the funny day when there was all those bloopers.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was working back from that's the first video to upload them all up onto that YouTube page. Um, and then
That's fun.
I could finally add it up because I was having trouble. I still, anyways, but we can start adding it up. I figured not adding it up, but looking at it in the way that Sean's looking at it. Like, is there anything that we can cut out of there to make something else? He really wants to cut it out, cut it up. And I think he's got the whole stack of all our videos. But anyways,
I don't know. People don't usually watch live. I agree with him on that. But
hmm,
if I don't know how he's going to cut it up because our conversations run, so smoothly. Well, not smoothly. We don't have good transitions. But I don't know how he's going to break up a conversation to make it cohesive in separate
hmm,
videos. There's, because there's
yeah,
again context. You have to watch basically from the beginning to end. And we talk long
yeah.
too.
Oh yeah, I tried to put a description into the videos, and basically I kind of give a quick listen back through and say, okay, we talked about one, two, three, four, five things, and you'll see it in the description. It
That's
was
it.
like seeking truth, and I
That's
go
it.
tick, tack, tuck, tuck, tick, tick. I was like, how could and each one is such a weird kind of flow into the other one that
Right. We have
like you
weird
say, cutting it
segues.
up is
Yeah.
weird. But after
You can
that, the
actually
whole
put.
live thing, like I mean, we're live, but basically we're just recording. This is just a recording
Recording for someone
studio,
else to
right?
watch later. Yeah. You
That's
can
it.
actually
So
put timestamps. But if you I don't know how to do it, but you can put timestamps on the recording and show people this is where this is. Let's say 14 minutes in,
oh,
this is this subject. 22 minutes in, we talked about this. You can do that.
oh wow, that's well, like even what I was doing, my topics aren't really good, and sometimes I skipped a little bit just because it's a lot of hours. But yeah, it would be nice to
Yeah, I
have that,
know.
but it would just take that setup, like all the stuff that Sean's doing is like we could do that, and it would take us like 6 hours to put all the
Yeah,
timestamps in or something.
he's going way over the top. I
Uh,
got to come to Montreal one day.
yeah, no, he's gonna start. Well, I hope it's gonna start producing. Like they're just gonna, and he's getting a lot of ideas together. I think he wants to come up with like some really clear ideas, not just like some jumbled sort of stuff that I spit out. Something a little bit more coherent. But anyways, he's
Well,
preparing. He'll be there.
he wants to have it, like topic, subject, middle, end. He doesn't want going
Yeah, yeah.
all around like we do. He wants to have basically like almost scripted but not scripted. You know what I mean? He wants to keep it organized.
Yeah, like, and I wonder what that like. And like you say, I try to say like, you want to do something like that? Is like that would be so weird. Like it would. How would you do it? It would be, well, it would be. You'd need it that structured, like you say. So here's the topic. You take a position for, and I take a position against, or whatever. I don't know how you do it. 2 minutes, 2 minutes,
But he
response,
wants to do
response.
that bell
I
thing.
don't know.
He wants
Hmm?
to do that bell thing where you only have a certain amount of time to speak. And I sometimes, I'm not very verbose, but sometimes I need to talk a little more to get my point
Mhm.
across. So that belt thing
I think,
annoys the hell out of me.
well, but at the same time, to like for me to limit myself, it might be a good exercise, but to have both available, like there's sort of the Seeking Truth with Frank and Fraser, and that's sort of the long form. You can come on this program and just talkity talk, talk, talk. And then we could do something like the 1 minute seeking, no, what would it be? Like, have you ever seen what I was talking about, the 1 minute apologist?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So just like something quick like that. I don't know if you and I could, it might just be too
No,
weird. But if Don
it
wants to do
might be a
something
little
quick,
hard for
like a
me.
5 minute sort of thing, I mean, that
Well,
could be another format. It's just another, you know.
David Wood does these things on YouTube where he has a 4 minute apologetics video, and he goes right to the subject.
Yeah,
But he's alone. He's not doing anything else. He's by himself with the script. He writes it and
yeah,
puts it on. We're not scripted. We're just coming whatever. We're just talking
yeah.
whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, and I think it could be a good playground for ideas. And we say, okay, well, that was kind of interesting. Why don't we do a 10-minute-ish discussion on what did we come up with sometimes, like welfare or something? Maybe we could just say, okay, let's try and focus on welfare.
Yeah.
And then we could have a series of like medium length videos, like 5 or 15 minutes. Whereas the original ones, we just let them go. And if something interesting pops up that, Sean says, hey, why don't you guys maybe
And we can go
talk about,
segue into that.
again,
Yeah.
like, and then the video, like this, again, the live stuff, we can just keep doing it exactly how we're doing it. And then from that, then do something perhaps more refined with Sean through his big fancy system. But at least this
I'm
way,
still wondering.
we've worked through our ideas at least once. You know what I mean?
I'm still wondering when he's gonna have a podcast. He's been setting up for how long now? A month and a half, I think.
Well, he's had a few trials, and there were some issues like just with the processing speed. Like I said, one side was lagging, but the other one wasn't. So I think he's trying to pick up some of that stuff. Sound was a weird one. Like he had some sound
Oh
input
yeah,
issues, but he was always getting
yeah.
that fuzz. And if it wasn't adjusted right, then it was just like it was like I'm having sound issues. Obviously, I don't know what this one's going to sound like, and
No, I
light
think it
issues.
sounds
Look at
fine
me,
to me.
I can
Sounds
see
fine. You
myself.
sound fine to me. So yeah.
Yeah,
You should have a light on your face. Like I'm using my
yeah.
computer monitor.
I realized that as I sat down. I'm like, whoops, I forgot to put one in front of me. But
You're not home, are you?
yeah,
Are you
and
home?
we're going to do like
Did you
this.
get your keys? Did
Yeah,
the landlord get your keys yet?
my no.
Oh,
So I went in and got this like lock cylinder, like just the input part with a key in it, but it was the wrong size. I went out really quickly this tonight, like $6, right? And I'm like, oh, I'll just get myself a new key and jam it into the other one. But it was the wrong size pin. I was like, oh, fuck, I should have looked closer.
oh.
Anyways, so it doesn't matter. Like tomorrow, maybe I'll go and buy a $25 lock and just a new deadbolt is all I need,
You
just basically.
you gotta replace the. Okay, you gotta get. Well, your landlord has to get a copy of the key too, which sucks.
Well, I mean, like we made wait a while.
Well, it's in the
I'll
United
wait for him to
States.
call me.
In the United States, you have to have your landlord must have a copy of the key to your apartment, but he's not
Yeah,
allowed to enter without your permission. So
yeah,
we have boundaries and laws that I have rights in my apartment for privacy that he can't come in without being asked,
yeah,
and he can't trespass basically.
yeah. We have the same thing. I had one landlord, and what happens? Anyways, he called me. He says, "Oh, I had to go into your apartment." Like, what's that? To shut your window. He saw from outside that the window was open. It was raining lightly. He said, I'm allowed to go in if there's a possibility of property damage. So my window is open like this much. He went in to close the window and was like, ooh, really?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he's allowed that.
That's what he said. If
Oh,
there was a possibility of damage to his property, I was like, it sounds kind of legit, but he was obviously using it like an asshole, right? Like, of course, if
yeah.
if you really think that, I don't know where that stands, but it sounded like maybe that's a part of it. Or if someone's in trouble, or I don't know. There's ways that it can go in, but here it's like you have to have at least 24 hours written notice, and
Something
it's got
like
to be
that.
for a legitimate reason, and all these things. It's like I'm only going to go into the kitchen, and like, yeah, they're pretty strict about when you have to do it. And he did that. And I was like, but anyways, he was a bit of a dick, so who cares?
I have two stories about that. One, when I was looking for apartments 10 years ago. There was a guy who was renting apartments for about $2,500 a month. It's pretty pricey. Uh, Had a steam shower, laundry, no dishwasher, and it was two bedrooms. It was quite small, but very, very modern. The kitchen was like a. Have you ever seen a galley kitchen? They're very
Twenty
small. You
five
know,
hundred
two islands.
dollars
Yeah.
for a two
Yeah.
bedroom?
Yes, that's the average rent around New York here. It's crazy. I pay 1,800. So yeah,
You have to move to Montreal. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I'm not going to say
yeah.
what I paid
I
rent.
know. No, I know. New York, California, any kind of all the liberal states in the United States, the highest
Three
rents you can
bedroom,
imagine.
$600.
Oh,
Do
God.
you know that's Canadian dollars? Do you know what that is in
Right, I
American dollars?
know. Probably about 450, 500.
I've actually got a really good
Oh
deal
my
though.
God. All right. Oh,
I
yeah, you
got a
did.
good deal. But we're
So his
talking like the
landlord
same
said,
place for maybe
wait,
a
Fraser, let me
thousand
finish.
though.
Wait,
Yeah,
let me
go
finish
go
my
with your
story
story.
first. So I can get it to you. I
$2,500 for
have
a
to,
two bedroom.
I have to,
Okay.
I have to. All right, so the landlord says I have the right to come in and inspect the property like once a month to see if it's clean or not.
Okay.
No, you don't. I don't have to let you in at all. So that was that one thing. I didn't take the apartment, obviously.
Mm.
And I was watching a show called World's Worst Tenants or World's Worst Landlords, either one. And his landlord was breaking into, well, he had a key. He was getting into his tenant's apartment and pissing into Chinese food. No joke. Just pissing in the food and leaving. Can you imagine the sickness these people have?
Oh, that's just
I
so
can't, I
creepy
got
because all of a sudden,
I
like
gotta
again, my
laugh. Yeah,
landlord has all the keys to my block, right?
right.
Well, there's
I
like
gotta
12
laugh
units.
at that.
He knows when people are in and out. Well, no, my
Right.
landlord doesn't actually live right there. So,
Now,
anyways,
if you
that's
have a
pretty
nosy
creepy.
landlord, if you have a nosy landlord that you have, especially if you're having a feud with or something, they can do so many things illegally.
Oh, yeah, that could, yeah, oh yeah, and they know how to make it miserable. They know exactly where the switches are, the fuses, and all that
Yeah.
shit. Anyways,
Well, in New York, anyway, in New York, they're not allowed to touch the electricity, the water. They can't enter your apartment illegally. They can't put your stuff on the street if they want to get
mhm,
you out. It's completely illegal.
that's
And
good.
you have to take you to housing court in order to get you out if they want you out. And
Mhm.
it's a process. It takes months and months and months, sometimes years. And there are people around here that the landlords are trying to evict that are in their apartments for 2, 3 years without paying a dime in rent. So these
Yeah,
landlords are, yeah,
that's where it doesn't work. Like, obviously, you don't want someone to get kicked out without a way to go. But at the same time, you don't want someone like doing that. That's someone, that's the landlord is like, it's like his thing. And then someone is holding it. And so the government says, no, it's his now. Like, no, it's going
right.
too far. It's abusing like tenant
I would never be a
protection.
landlord.
It's just abusing tenant protection, which tenant protection can be a good thing. But to this point,
Well, think
man.
about this, Fraser. You buy a house with a rental property, so you can afford the mortgage on the house. You can live, a little bit
Mhm.
above your, but within your means, basically. You rent it out to someone, they don't want to pay rent, you try to evict them. Now you can't make the mortgage and you have deadbeat tenants.
Yeah,
What's
you
going
got
to
to pay
happen?
taxes. You got to pay
Yeah,
mortgage,
right,
right?
exactly. So what happens? The tenants stay in your house and you lose your house and you're foreclosed, you have to move. But your
Yeah, and
tenants
you're
stay
not
there.
allowed to kick them out. It's weird.
And you,
That's a
right,
weird one.
exactly. It's the liberal, I think, well, thank God for me, but the liberal tenant laws in some of these states are, they favor a lot of the tenants over the landlords. They don't favor the landlords. I mean,
But it's just that we can agree that there's like a good level of tenant protection and a
oh,
good level
absolutely.
of
You need some of that.
landlord protection.
You
But
need,
it's just like don't go
you
too
can't,
far. Like just keep it at a like where to
right, you
stop at
can't have
reasonable.
tenants here. You can't have
Yeah.
tenants here, landlords here, or
No.
the other way around. You have to have an equal footing, right?
Yeah.
There's a middle ground, I'm sure.
Yeah, like here in Montreal, and I think it's well, and like it's one of those rent controlled places. That's why rent was it was creeping up in certain places, you know.
Hmm.
And this was one apartment where it moved from one. friend to another, as it were. And so with the rent laws, you can only raise the rent by X% every year by the law. Unless you do renovations, it's like minimal. It's like 3% a year or something. You're allowed to raise
That's
the
not a
rent.
lot.
It's not a lot, right? Unless there's some renovations or some extra cost, then you're allowed to put up a little bit more. But it's hard to check what the last rent was, right? If you can talk to the last tenant, you'll know what the rent is and you know how much he's allowed to raise it.
Right.
Now, when you go to sign it, he says, no, 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 you shouldn't sign. You shouldn't be charging me that. The rent is only allowed to be this. Well, there's going to be a reason why you can't sign all of a sudden, right? So between
Yeah.
tenants, landlords are able to raise the rent above the minimum. So I'm able to get this one where again it's below what market price is, but again there was a law for the tenants, but it was actually like again, it's not even keeping up with inflation, right? So it was too strict, obviously. Like maybe put it at
Obviously,
5%
yeah.
or 3% or 4%, you know? So it was too strict, so it was killing the landlords. And so they were kind of cheating it. But then, anyway, so it's one of those laws. It was like, well, it's a good idea. You don't want landlords to be able to jump at 20% a year, but they have to be able to make a living, or else the places will become slum
Well,
houses, right?
well,
Because
that's
they
the
won't
problem
have
too.
any.
You have to, right? People can't afford to, especially in America now. People really can't afford to rent too often. They can't afford to buy houses. So it's like you're
Mhm.
stuck between a rock and a hard place. And in New York, the average rent in Manhattan is 3,700. The average rent in Brooklyn, where I am, is about 2,200. It's dependent on the neighborhood. Obviously, the lower cost neighborhood, the poorer neighborhoods, rent's going to be a lot less. So I live in a decent neighborhood, where it's middle class and above. So the rent's going to here are going to be pretty, decent on the high side. But I have a pretty decent big apartment. The apartments that I was looking at when I was moving were half the size for the same money, maybe more.
Mhm.
I'm looking at what? I think I have about 800, 1,200 square feet. I was looking at 600 square feet apartments for a lot less, for a lot more
Mhm.
actually. Sorry.
Like,
I mean, it's
oh
half the,
man,
and yeah. Actually, I
but
was
you
looking at a
can't do
three-bedroom
that.
apartment. We had a three-bedroom apartment we were looking at for 1,600. It was beautiful.
Okay, but those are the gems that are really hard to like land
Yeah,
sometimes.
the parking. No, there was no parking at all.
Mm.
I would
Yeah.
have rented the
Oh,
driveway, but the last tenant had it, and they wouldn't let me have it. So I would have
but
taken
then,
that one.
holy crap, 3,500 or Manhattan. But like a student, like if you want like a studio apartment, sort of like
thousand
nothing but a
dollars.
bathroom, what is like a
My uncle got me
minimum
one.
sort of, huh?
My uncle just moved to one in Staten Island for $1,000.
$1,000,
A
eh?
studio for 1,000. That's actually good. Around here, that's a good price. Yeah, I know, right? The cost of living here is incredibly high.
And like everything is in American dollars. Holy
Right,
smacker doodles. Wow.
right.
But it's
I was
because
looking at
again, you're on islands. You're on very highly populated islands. You're not gonna the island isn't gonna grow anytime soon, right?
no, but it's
So
going to get more population dense. It's getting denser. I mean, we're a sanctuary city. On top of that, we're harboring illegal aliens. I don't know. No, regardless of how we both feel about it, we're going to keep that to the side for now. With the people that shouldn't be here,
mhm.
um,
There's a lot of
illegal
people that do
apartments.
that.
Yeah, there are a lot of illegal apartments where the Chinese, especially,
Oh,
buy a house and they convert it from a three-bedroom into like a 20-bedroom, and those conversions aren't unheard of. They're a fire
mm,
hazard, but they move their whole family into one place, and that's illegal also. It's illegal conversion, but they have to do that in order to survive, because if they're going to pay the mortgage, they need 20, 30 people living in one spot, each
mm.
contributing to that mortgage in order to afford it. Because houses here, the cheapest house around here is $600,000. There are houses a couple blocks away from me that are $3, $4 million.
But actually, that's the way you have to go. Like you gotta imagine if you're living in like Shanghai or something with your family, it's
Well,
expensive to live
that's
too.
China. Yeah,
And but it's a different family dynamic too, where
yeah,
that's just
right. They have
happened. You live
extended,
with like
right?
you
Aunts,
live
uncles,
through generations.
grandparents, everybody. Yeah, everybody lives together. Yeah.
And I remember my dad was talking about that. It's like, why always like corner stores? you see like South Asian or Asian families running it. And
Yeah,
he was like saying it with like a sort of, sort of like that's a cultures that still have that family dynamic. It's the only way to make a corner store work because it's not like a lot of margin or there's not a lot of, it's tough. It's a tough one to run. But if you have slave labor effectively, like if you're living
basically,
under
yeah,
the same
yeah,
roof,
right,
your kids are going to be like, the handy ones. That's the only way to make the business model work. It's just like growing up on a farm. The kids are slaves. The grandparents are
basically, yeah,
babysitters, and
yeah,
the aunts and
right,
uncles are entertainment. It's the
yeah.
family
And
unit.
they,
So you
and if
say
you ever
that,
look
no,
at,
but I understand
if you
those
look at a,
conversion things. Yeah, the
if
conversion
you look
model.
at a Korean grocery store, they have laundromats. It's all family run, and they don't hire outside their family. They make
Yeah,
money, but they keep it all within their family. They don't hire outsiders.
yeah, and but again, that makes like I couldn't run that business. I wouldn't like because there isn't that
No,
sort of not there's this sort of bartering system like you give me this, I give me that, and you don't have to be making as much money to be. So anyway, I see what you're
no.
saying, but when you get back to the point about the rooming houses, they do that in Ottawa a lot. Like it's right around the university. There's these like really nice old houses. I couldn't tell you what era, but anyways, there's nice big houses. But because it's the university area, and maybe now it's like less nice of a neighborhood as when it was built. So they go in and like they do what you're talking about. They take one house and just cut it into bed-sized
Yeah,
rooms. And then so now
right,
one
right.
house has and put maybe an extra toilet in there. Everyone shares the kitchen. And it's just a gong show. Like and like you say, they're
Uh,
technically allowed to do it. Apparently, there's technically allowed, but then you've got such a dense population all of a sudden. Everyone's got like I don't know a little heater thing in their rooms. Now you got just nothing but fire hazards all over the place.
oh yeah,
And then you
and
got
the problem is the other thing too is they tap into the electrical boxes and they
yeah,
split all the electrical runs to around the houses,
that's it,
and not only is it taking a toll on the electrical grid, but it's causing electrical hazard too with all the illegal wiring.
right? Because you know that if you go in your kitchen sometimes, depending on some old places, you plug everything into the same circuit and it'll blow. So you
It
got to
starts to
plug the
pop.
microwave
Yeah,
over here and the fridge over there.
right,
Now
right.
imagine like again, and that's for a family of five, say. Okay, well, the same house that was built for that could overload on just those things. Now you put 20
Imagine,
people in
yeah,
it.
10, yeah, 10,
That's
15,
when,
20. Yeah.
again, the system, the electrical system wasn't made to handle that. And so at the minimum, it's always going to be like running pretty hot, right?
But I do
That's
have to say though, these extended families that live together, they do work out
mhm,
better, and familiar relationships they're a lot
I think
closer. And the advent of the nuclear family was actually detriment to the American society because we're taking our extended family for granted. We don't live with each other
yeah,
anymore.
I
If
believe,
grandma and
yes.
grandpa gets too old, put them in a home. Forget about them.
I
You
100%
know?
agree with that. Yeah, and without going into illegal immigration, there was a study on
Like,
immigration. Like when you have an immigrant, maybe I even mentioned that before. When like you bring, say, I don't know, Joe over from wherever, and he starts working, great. If you bring like his parents over, or say his mom or something, you bring someone who's in the family unit, you raise the family unit, you raise his productivity. And so it's
yeah, you said this before.
advantageous
Yeah.
to bring more family members. And then like babies come too, and they're going to pay a lot more taxes than Granny pays. But bringing Granny along gives the free babysitting so that his family can get on their
The
feet
people can be more
easier.
productive. Yeah. No, I
And it's
agree. I
that
agree with that.
family unit.
Yeah.
And rather than, and again, that's just, you've already agreed that Joe is a great engineer. So we like him as a citizen. And he would be even better if we brought his family or help, not like, obviously not like bring 20 people, but like, have at least some trackway that to bring Granny over isn't like a whole new thing, right? It's just like, oh, now we've got Joe. Sure, we'll go through the family process of bringing that unit up. Like you say, just promoting something
My
more than the
dog just
nuclear
walked up. Hi,
family.
baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Fishy, say hi.
Hello,
Lucky,
hello.
say hi. Look, look. Look, Lucky. Hey there. Look, say hi. Say hi.
Oh, I guess he doesn't hear me. Hello,
No, you
hello.
don't hear. You can't hear. You ain't
Woo.
here. There. Oh, I just wanted to introduce everybody. Look, it's my little baby. His name is Lucky. I call him Squishy because he likes to be squished.
Lucky boy.
Look how long his hair is. He needs a haircut. Look at this. This is
Oh
crazy.
my goodness. That's why he can't see me. His hair is all in his eyes.
His hair's all in his eyes. Yeah, he looks like Sam the sheepdog. Look. Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
always
look.
funny dogs like that. I don't know if you
All
ever
right.
cut his hair real short.
Yeah, I gave him a puppy cut.
You give them right
Oh
short, and
my.
how different
Oh,
they look.
sorry.
Oh my goodness, they look so different when they got short hair compared to like long.
Sorry about
It's
that.
like two different animals. It's so funny to see dogs get a haircut. You hear me now?
Isn't he adorable though?
Yeah, that's it.
That's my
But
family. That's my. That's.
yeah, exactly. It's a little bit, and that's it. I have friends, and like Montreal is famous for that too. There's well, not famous, but I have some friends that I was there for having good times in my 20s, say, and some of my friends they just didn't, not that they didn't grow up with that, but they just decided never to have families. So they're just happy living in Montreal, doing their thing. Usually they couple up mostly, but then they'll get like a dog or two, and it's like that's their kids. You can see how they treat them.
Yeah.
It's just like they wanted, but they didn't really want kids and like all that went with that, right? But they'll have dogs, and it's just like that's their love. You can see them directing it this way, right? It's the exact same thing. We laugh about it because it's
Yeah.
like a 3-year-old. It's just like constantly having a 3-year-old or maybe a 2-year-old. I
It
don't know what
is.
you would give
Yeah.
it
No,
name.
it really is. No, it
Like
is.
dependent on you with that love and affection, but it's endless. It doesn't grow up and become a petulant adolescent, right?
All right.
Yeah, just a pain in the ass toddler. Not a pain in
Yeah.
the ass, but an
Well,
adorable
well,
toddler.
they're,
Yeah.
they're more affectionate than people sometimes.
Oh,
I
for
wish I had
sure.
a family, but life didn't go that way for me. I wanted a wife and kids, but what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? That's it. I keep saying I want a big family, but jeepers, it's not happening. I have a little family now. But no, I kind of, yeah, things just don't happen as you want them. But anyways, you got lucky, and lucky's lucky to have you, or
Lucky's
you got
lucky. Yeah, lucky's lucky,
you're lucky to have lucky, and lucky's lucky.
and lucky's
Oh
lucky
my
to have
God,
me.
lucky's lucky to have you. There it
Don't
is.
try to
There was
figure it out,
something.
Fraser.
My
You're good
brain
at
was like,
math, not a brain teaser.
not a brain teasers at this hour. Yeah. Anyways, whoops, I keep slouching further and further down.
Yeah, you see that?
I,
I know. All right,
I think I've been letting
I'll
go
let
now.
you go. Yeah, I think that's
Whoops.
the end of it
Oh,
for tonight.
oh no, I've done. I pressed something. Whoops. Sorry. A warning came up. Is do you want to continue without guests? I'm like, why ask? No, I don't want to. Anyway, so.
Kick me off! Kick me off!
Oh, no. Okay, but that was good. We had a good episode there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we didn't seek any truth, but I don't know what we found.
Yeah.
We
We
just found
found
Frank and
something.
Frazier. No truth.
That's it. Exactly. That's all the title said. We never said we were finding truth. We were saying seeking
It's like
truth.
seeking truth.
At the
We
end of
never
this,
said we're gonna find it. Yeah.
all we're gonna find is Frank and Fraser. No, no problem. Yeah, it's it.
And no one wants to
Anyways, well,
find me. No,
that's
no one
it.
wants to find me. They throw me back. Go away.
Well, we'll
All
throw you
right,
back.
Fraser. All right, go to
You're gonna
sleep.
again tomorrow. Okay, well,
I'll
we'll
talk to
talk
you later.
again. Probably tomorrow. Anyways, we'll talk. I'll be seeing on tomorrow, Lon. Yeah.
Sure. All
That
right.
sentence didn't even make sense. We'll
No,
see
it
you
didn't.
tomorrow.
I just nodded my head okay because I don't. Do you ever talk to somebody? You keep saying what, and by the third time you're just nodding in agreement because you don't know what the hell they're talking about. You can't understand them. That's you just now. Good night,
All right,
Fraser.
friend. Good night, friend.
Get to sleep. Take care.